Hey there, thank you for checking out this Ask the Expert video from R&R. I am joined today by Tim Hull. He is the Director of Operations and a Business Development Advisor for Violand Management Associates. I'm going to jump right into this. We're talking about coronavirus some more. Today, we're coming at it not from a technical standpoint, we're coming at it from a business management standpoint. I know that a lot of you have a lot of questions about, can I keep my business open? Am I considered an emergency services business if our state goes into quarantine or lockdown? How can I keep my employees safe? There are a lot of questions out there when it comes to actually running your own business, in addition to taking care of customers and stuff like that. So Tim is here to tackle some of those questions. So Tim, from a business management standpoint, what are some things that restoration companies should be doing internally right now as this outbreak progresses?
Yeah, thanks, Michelle. I appreciate you inviting me to participate in this. I think it should probably go without saying that the first priority on everybody's mind should be the health and safety of their employees. Keeping them safe out in the workforce, whether you're continuing to work or not, should be the top priority. Beyond that, what we're working with our clients on mainly is the business continuity side. There's a lot of changes that are going on right now. It seems like we're getting updates almost hourly. I know definitely daily, and they vary by state to state. But the idea that your business is going to continue and that we're going to get through this really needs to be on the top of everybody's mind. And complying with the mandates that are coming down from the governments and the CDC and everybody that wants us to practice the social distancing and shelter in place and things like that. There's a lot of things that businesses could be doing to prepare for that if you haven't already been stuck in that situation. The first is making sure that any employees that don't want to be or don't need to be in the office right now, they need to be set up to work remotely. This again is for everybody's safety, including those you may not even know. But there's a lot of challenges there. And fortunately, technology today has given us a lot of options in that regard. So taking advantage of those, if they don't need to be in the office, set things up to work remotely and get them to work from home. Second element is really on the business cash side. When it comes to the financial position of your company, every company is different, obviously, but in any crisis, cash is king. And of course, you need to reevaluate your cash position, whether that means taking a look at the money that's owed to you in accounts receivable, seeing what you can do to expedite those funds, making sure that you're managing the operating capital that you have, including capitalizing on any available borrowing room on your line of credit that needs to be considered. And then, of course, maybe even renegotiating the payable terms to your suppliers. I know a lot of companies out there. Fortunately, our economy was really strong before this hit. They're willing to issue some relief, I guess, to suppliers and service companies. Take advantage of those. The last thing I think that everybody really needs to consider as we start to see more and more governors kind of race to quarantine and shut things down, we really need to start thinking about whether or not our business falls into that necessary service or that essential service category that everybody keeps talking about. And the definition of that does vary state to state, where in California or the city of San Francisco, it might be deemed as an essential service. The state of Pennsylvania just closed down last night, and the language is really ambiguous as to whether or not restoration contractors fall under that realm. I would strongly encourage everyone to, regardless of what your opinion or what your rendering is on that verdict, to really start to consider what your operating model looks like, providing emergency mitigation services only. Prepare for the day that you might have to shut down your repair projects that are ongoing, and start to think about how you're going to provide the essential mitigation services necessary that are out there. So that's the continuity and the contingency planning side of things. I really firmly believe, as Chuck had released a video for us earlier this week, that there's a leadership side to this that all employees can really benefit from in any moment of crisis. Obviously, employees are looking to leadership to provide them with direction, and our business owners really need to be clear and they need to be definitive, even if the plan changes tomorrow. And it probably will. But have a plan, be decisive in your direction, and make sure that you're leading your employees in a good manner that's positive, because on the backside of this thing, we're going to come out of it.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, we will. Okay, so you kind of already touched on this. I don't know if you have any more points, but do you have any specific ways that companies can be protecting their own employees? I know you talked about sending them home if they can work from home. Do you have any other advice on that?
Yeah, I think a lot of it is common sense, right? Beyond the fact that, whether they have to be in the office or they can work remotely. But this whole situation, I think, goes well beyond the virus itself. I mean, we need to be really practicing the social distancing guidelines that the CDC put out and complying to government requests. But, beyond that, protection of our employees, just it goes really beyond just getting them sick or them potentially getting somebody else sick. There's a lot of questions on people's minds right now, and you see these crazy things like people making a run on the grocery store and stocking up with more supplies than they really even need in a year. They're doing that because they're reverting back to the fundamental needs of a human being. We're talking Maslow's hierarchy here. Your employees don't need more toilet paper. Your employees don't necessarily need more PPE. What they need is they need an employer to really protect them and give them confidence that they're going to be secure in their jobs. I believe that I think the government's really wanted to shut businesses down sooner than they did, but they were waiting for those relief packages from the federal government so that we didn't have mass chaos on our hands. So that just, it speaks a lot to the comfort that employees need right now. And we have a golden opportunity. We're well positioned as an industry to survive this situation. But take the best of it. Take the best of it.
So are there any past circumstances or instances that we can look back on to try to gather guidance for how to handle this outbreak as businesses?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, our business is no stranger to catastrophic events. And when you look back to some of the big events that happened, just as recently as some of the hurricanes that hit, we're well positioned as an organization, as an industry, really, to survive those things. I mean, we put the cowboy hat on and we put the Boy Scout uniform on pretty well, and we're able to operate with limited resources. So it puts us in a unique position. I'd love to say there is an event that happened like this, or maybe not, in the future. I don't think we've ever seen an event like this quite in our lifetime. Maybe 9/11 might have been something similar, but I think we can draw from each of those different catastrophic scenarios and take the parts, the environmental disruption, the economic disruption, being able to work with limited resources, pool all of those experiences together to really be able to make the restoration business shine throughout this crisis.
Yep, beautiful. Okay, so do you have any, before we wrap up, any resources that you would recommend to business owners who are looking to double check their legal forms, their insurance policies, anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, strongly advise when it comes to the legality side of things, definitely contact your attorney. If you don't have or an attorney on retainer or a close working relationship with an attorney, I'd encourage you to establish one quickly. Specifically right now, we're fielding a lot of questions, Michelle, especially from our clients about their concern for the employees and employment law. What can and can't be done, what should and shouldn't be done. And that's good, that the employees should be on the top of everybody's mind. But contacting a good employment law attorney to help interpret some of the things that you should be doing is definitely a must. On the liability side, obviously, an insurance broker would be the best source of counsel there. And as I mentioned before, this is a very fluent situation. So we respect the fact that our clients want information, they want answers. If you ask me a question today, my answer might be different tomorrow.
Yes.
But it does speak to the need of needing good counsel, even if it's a professional or a colleague in the industry that you want to talk to. It never hurts to have another opinion. So pick up the phone, call somebody you trust and you respect, that's credentialed to give you good guidance so you can make decisions.
Perfect. All right, Tim, any other tidbits you want to add before we wrap this up?
Yeah, just, business and life is going to resume again. As we're going through this, I think it's going to seem like an eternity, this period of time that we're in, where we're seeing all of these quarantine orders come down and businesses shut down. But business is going to go back to life, and life is going to return to normal again. And whatever we can do to help businesses maintain that continuity so that when life does go back to normal and business does resume, you're in the best possible position. I think that needs to be everybody's focus right now.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Tim, for joining us. Anybody who's watching this video, feel free to visit violan.com to get some resources from them. Check out the events that they still, as of right now, have scheduled for later in the year. They have some great business development events, great place to meet and network with awesome top-notch restorers. So be sure to check out their website. Thank you so much, Tim. I appreciate your time a lot.
Thank you, Michelle. Take care.
You too.